Cathwell Stationery Services Limited announces its massive blowout sale on all stationery for school and office. Get copy paper at just $18 per ream. Enjoy up to 18% off folders, cardstock, Bristol boards, ink and toner cartridges, laptops, office furniture, and more. To order now, call 442-5848 or 5747. Or call 435-3377 and get free delivery island-wide and the lowest prices nationwide. Or visit our outlet on Scott Street, St. George's, where we guarantee the lowest prices daily. Cathwell Stationery Services Limited, the reliable office supply people.
Yeah. Wednesday on the ride. How you guys doing? Happy Grenadian Thanksgiving Day to one and all. Serafani, or Stephanie, sorry. Let's see. How you doing? Betty Ann Court, how you doing? Welcome to the ride. Guys, as you're coming, go ahead and share the thing because it is and will be a very interesting conversation today. Very, very interesting. It's another one for the record books, guys, for the history books, because, you know, oftentimes, as I always say on this program, we learned about everybody else's history. We learned about Christopher Columbus. We learned about the European. We learned about the American. We learned about everybody, the Spanish, the Greek, the Portuguese, the French. What about our history, right? A lot of it were not taught in schools. So a lot of folks my generation and younger, they're totally ignorant to the history and what happened in our beautiful country. It was just 40 years ago, guys. Just 40 years ago. Now, it wasn't that long. It was not that long, guys. It was October 25th, 1983. A multinational force, primarily consisting of the U.S. military personnel, landed on Grenada. Now, the military operation aimed to restore order and protect American citizens, especially the medical student. The invasion was swift, and the capture of the coup leaders and the restoration of a more pro-Western governance on the island. Now, while the U.S. intervention was successful in achieving its primary objective, it was not without criticism and controversy. The invasion was criticized by members of the international community, particularly those that were sympathetic to the Grenada Revolution, which had led to the death of Maurice Bishop. Now, the Soviet Union, Cuba, has strongly condemned the U.S. action. Now, joining us right now is Mr. Dennis Charles. Now, Dennis was in prison during that time, and he has a long story to tell in regards to what happened to him in that period in our history. Mr. Charles, welcome to Ride Along Live. How are you doing today, sir?
Good day to you, Junior. I'm doing fine. Thank you very much for having me on.
Absolutely. Dennis, I know how this whole thing does play out. We did this a few years ago, and I know it's very emotional for you. It gets very emotional because you're basically reliving the moments in time 40 years ago. But I also think that it's important because so many people have missed that part of our history. That story, a lot of those stories have not been told. And without you telling the story, people would not even know about it, what happened. So I'm happy that you took the time out of your busy schedule today being a holiday in Grenada, to come share the story with us. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Yes.
All right. So, Dennis, we're going to start from the beginning. All right. First of all, how were you arrested? Or why were you arrested during the revolution? What were you doing?
Yes, well, I was arrested pretty much because of a pot of oil down, I should say. 2 pounds of flour I like to eat. And You guys know I love my oil long night and day. So I was with a school friend of mine, child mate, one of my best friends, Dominic Paul, the guy who started Spice Island Imaging on the Coronage
Yes.
in St. George. Earlier in the day, we went and steal, which we used to do a lot,
Mm-hmm.
sugarcane in River Antoine Estate. And when we got back, we decided probably we should cook some oil down. None of us had money. We did not have money. We did not work.
Mm-hmm.
We were teenagers. I just came back from Trinidad, but our fathers, our parents had land, cocoa, and all of that. So I didn't really need a job to survive. Um, so I had to get 2 pounds of flour.
Mm-hmm.
I think Biscuit, well, we call him Biscuit, Dominic Paul, his nickname was Biscuit. I think he had to get the back and neck, which we call chicken neck and back. Yeah.
Right.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So when I came back from the cane field, if you know Grenada well, it's near to the long wall, going up to River Sally.
Uh-huh.
That's where we went and steal some sugarcane. So all that black ants and straw and all of that on me, I'm like, let me go take a shower quick before I go and get the flour by Mr. Lion's shop on Tivoli Main Road. So I did that. But I noticed my sister was getting dressed quick. Hurry, 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 hurry. And a gentleman came through the cocoa in a shortcut behind our house. At that time, I had no idea that they had arrested Kennedy Budlal. He used to date my sister.
Right.
I didn't know what was happening because I came from the beach, right? Pretty much.
Right. So hold on before you go on, Dennis. We're talking about the period in time immediately after the overthrow of Gary, right? So
Yeah.
the overthrow, the revolution,
Yes.
and so we're talking about that period, right? In nine seven. What year? Give us a
Yes.
and some.
That I got arrested in 1980, but they started arresting people. So, I mean, the day of the revolution, they started arresting people like crazy, anyways. But
Right.
I was not arrested in 1979. I got arrested. I went to Trinidad after Magdalene College, and
Right.
I stayed there until my mom got me accepted in university, one of those big schools, I think in Massachusetts or Connecticut.
Right.
And she told me to go back because I had to go to Barbados and get a visa for school. So I said, okay, I was pro Bish. I love Brother Bishop. And I wanted to go there on March 13th. So I left Trinidad and I went home. But I wasn't in Grenada. And I wasn't militia. I wasn't in the PRA. I was, Seven Adventist. My only sin was, sugarcane, River Antoine Estate. If they lock me up for that, fine.
Mm-hmm.
But everybody used to do that.
Right.
Yeah. So by the time I finished, changed my clothes, my sister was gone. My brother wasn't there. My younger sister, she was missing too. I had no idea that they rounded up all these guys on Pearls Airport,
Uh-huh.
which they had a military barracks. And at the time, it was commanded by Kennedy Budlal,
Right.
right? I didn't know what was going on. I had no idea. But anyhow, I need my oil down, and I get in my 2 pound of flour to cook my dumpling. So I went up on the main road. On the way up, I saw a PRA jeep coming down full of guns and soldiers. They don't say anything to me. They don't know me. I don't know none of them. They pass me. I go up the road and ask my father, well, I'm hearing things. What really going on here in Tivoli? He said he heard that they pick up a whole bunch of guys, a lot of Tivoli guys who are at the airport, and they ambush them in a kind of way, and they seize the barracks from them.
Mm-hmm.
So I told him I'm going to Mr. Land shop. I'm going to cook my food. I'm going to cook my food. I have to get flour. And I went. But when I got to the shop, Mr. Lion shop, right now it's owned by Baines, some Baines people. excuse me, they had a line, so I had to wait to get my flour. And those days they had to wait the flour for you, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So I went outside and I stood in front, like the street, and the same vehicle that saw me or passed me going down the trace is the
Yeah.
same vehicle that came and pulled up beside me, and about 6 soldiers jump out. Click, 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 click. AK-47 pointing at me. I'm like, ah, what going on? Jump in. You gotta come open your house. I say, house? I don't own no house. You know? I thought they were joking. You left my father there and you come to me and now you want to go and cook. So I tell him I ain't going. So I think that is why I end up in jail, I guess.
Mm. Okay. So when they took you from there, that was in Tivoli,
Yes.
put you in the back of the car and transported you. Where did they take you?
They took me to, well, first of all, I had my hands behind my back just in case they grabbed me from the front. But one of them passed behind and he kind of fling a handcuff. And he must have been really accurate because he hooked me good. And it was a Jeep. And they hook, after they cuff my two hands, they hook it to the top of the PRA Jeep, like the rail on top,
Right.
and they really took off. They brought me to Granny Town. Boy, they knocked me left and right because I couldn't balance myself. They were driving so fast around the corner, going up Brush Grove and all those places. When they take a corner, you could hear the wheels screech, you know? And while they're doing that and knocking, bang, 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 I don't have my hands to hold, you
Right.
know,
Yes.
because my hands hook up here. So they pong me very well, taking corner at high, speed. So without physically punching me, I was being knocked by the vehicle, you know. But anyhow, when they went to the great house, the bigger one, and they opened up a lot of soldiers and a lot of guns, who I saw in there, Kennedy Budlal. So Kennedy, like, oh my God, he started cursing some words I cannot say on your show, Junior.
Right.
And he asked them why they so you guys go pick up, and he was like getting real mad. And I see some of them soldiers like they want to run. They're so scared, but he was really handcuffed and surrounded by guys with a hand on the trigger. So I thought, well, when they start to shoot him, I am dead too. And he said, well, this guy nothing. Why all you pick up those people children? You know, he used to come after my sister,
Right.
and they had a young baby. So eventually he spoke with them, and still, although in handcuff, they said, okay, they're going to take me back home.
Mm-hmm. You
Now,
were what age at that time?
I was 18, going on 19.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So closer, let's say 19. And they drove real hard. One did apologize and say, we young and the revolution young, we're going to make mistakes, right?
Right.
They brought me home. But they have so many different commands. By the time we went home, our house was surrounded by PRA soldiers, all in the cocoa, all behind the house. I don't know who is rank and who doesn't have rank. Plus, now it's night, I can't, and I don't know them anyways, right?
Right.
So what they did now, they take me now and they handcuff me to the veranda, the railing, the iron that hold up the veranda, the support.
Uh-huh.
They hook me on that now. So I come from being hooked on the PRA Jeep to being hooked to our veranda,
Uh-huh.
you know? And I'm like, I can't believe this. I just get back to Grenada. What the hell did I do? I said, you guys talk about Gary have a Mongo's gang. Mongo's gang never do us nothing. We don't know no Mongo's gang in Tivoli. And look at what you guys doing. And I support the revolution. I was going to school at the time. I was going to McDonald College. But still, we all support the revolution, you know? And look at what you guys doing to me. They couldn't find my sister. My brother ran too, which is Eric Charles.
Uh-huh.
He ran. And my younger sister also I don't know where they bail out, but they should have told me, don't come or probably just go back down to the beach. I had no idea. So I am the one they got.
Right.
And one of them made a decision again, this time not Granite Town. I ended up on Fort Rupert
Okay.
in the back of the car, and they left me there for maybe 2 hours. They had no room on the fort, and they didn't know what to do with me.
And that was after it was initially released
Yes.
from Granite Town, sent back
Yes.
only to be picked up again. Did anyone
Rearrested.
tell you what was the fascination with Dennis Charles?
No. What I found out, Junior, and this is why I want the Grenadian people to know our history, and we have to come together. We have to heal. I did my share of crying and you know, certain times of the year, my wife had to go in another room and sleep when the nightmares come, because you know, sometimes I'm trying to run in my sleep, but it's punch and kick, you know. Well, you know the whole story. So she does bail out around October and March, and this thing has taken a toll on me. But anyhow, when I got to Richmond Hill Prison, the prison full too. So they decide, well, I have to go where they hanging people. Condemn cell. And the place stink. Cobwebs. I don't know the last time they didn't hang somebody, but they shoved me inside a hole. They just keep opening padlock, opening gate, opening padlock. And quite in the back, smell bad, like no oxygen. That place been locked down because they haven't hung, you know, had you know, kill somebody there in a long time. So that's where I spend. And in fact, when I got there now, they want to know what's my name. I had to give them my name and spell it too. They don't even know who I am.
So they didn't know who you were.
No.
And no one could tell you why.
No. No. Okay. So I spent some time there. I can't tell you what day they picked me up. I didn't have a watch on me. And the only thing that I could remember vividly was like people passing and peep, you know, because a lot of iron gate, those big heavy iron, but they could peep. And all the prisoners going up and down, like in the morning, they're going on the farm probably, I realized, and coming back. Even down to the Mongo's gang was, you know, they were able to go out in the farm and work the farm and all of that, you know, and come back in the evening time and so forth. People only peeping at me, as if I'm you know, in a cage like some kind of gorilla or something. And by myself with nobody from TV, nobody around me to talk, nothing. I remembered my first meal. It is called PRA milk with about 10 dead flies in it, you know. So they call it PRA milk. I don't know who came with that name, but the water on top and the milk, cold milk below, and a mile of flies, right? And that was my introduction to, let's say, a cup of coffee in the morning. I couldn't believe it. And a dry bread. So it was welcome to hell. I stayed there. I don't know who made the decision to take me out of there and bring me into the Remand Yard. So I met Jerry Romaine. I met a lot of people. Hubbard Prudhomme, Oliver Rayborn. I met some guys from Mount Rich, like Noble Phillip, Dalton Pope, Hayes, Rasta Nanang from River Road. He got shot too. And different people, a lot of different people. I had no idea who Terry Victor from Vincent's St. David's, one of the guys that started the jail movement. Well, they jailed him too. I didn't know those people and them. I had no idea who they were. And they put me in a cell with Kennedy Budlal again. I don't want to go near this guy. I don't want to go because in my mind, he's a dead man, which means I'm going to get bullied too. But I can't fight. I can't fight. So they put me in a cell with Kennedy.
Kennedy Budlal?
Yes.
Kennedy
Two of us.
Budlal was arrested too?
Yes, he was arrested. In fact, he was arrested earlier in the day while I was in in the sugarcane field, myself and Dominic Paul. I didn't know. I had no radio, no nothing. We didn't have no cell phone at the time. I wasn't any PRA or militia, not. We just do what boys do. And we decided we're going to go and cook some backanek. We ain't had no money. So we scrape up some money and we cook some dumpling and breadfruit. Yeah.
Let me just give you a quick note here, guys. You're watching Ride Along Live. I want you guys to share this story because we're chatting here with Mr. Dennis Charles. Now, Dennis has a very compelling story on what happened to him on that date. It's Thanksgiving in Grenada for a reason. A lot of people, well, you'll see why. For a lot of people, it is called Thanksgiving. There is so much more to hear. So take this opportunity, guys. If you didn't share the program yet, go ahead and share the program right now. Do it right now. Share it. Put it on a page. I want you guys to hear the rest of Mr. Dennis Charles' story live. All right. So, Dennis, you inside. You're locked up.
Mm-hmm.
No one telling you even why you were arrested.
No.
How was the treatment? How was the food?
Oh my God. My mom baptized me around 14 because yes, those guys in Tivoli used to smoke weed. And she didn't want me into this thing, no carnival, no job, no nothing. I had to run away and run behind job and shot me and make sure I get back home before she out the lights and lock the front door. So what I used to do sometimes, I used to go in the back door and put Vaseline on it. So if I know I'm running in conference or la poetry behind job, when I come back, I have to pass through the back because she'll take out the light and lock the front door. So when I shake the front door with the grease on it, it open and I go inside and sleep. She had no idea how I used to get inside. She thought I was Houdini. But anyhow, she took me out I had to go to church 4 days a week. All day Saturday, Sunday I had to go back to church, Wednesday night service, and to welcome the Sabbath on Friday. I used to get tired of going to church as a young man. But leaving that aside, I tell you, the bread they used to give us, being that it was so many of us, I don't think it was deliberate that they infest the place with cockroach and all of that. And they didn't have proper storage for the flour and all of that to make the bread. Remember, you have hundreds of detainees, you have hundreds of prisoners, right? It's too much. You can't cover each plate or whatever they feed in us. You used to call a ration pan. We didn't need to plate ration pan. It's like a dog. You're big kicking. Something like that, feed a dog in that. That's what we had. So they didn't have no, I would say, towel for all this amount of people you're cooking food for to cover. So you're going to be eating flies. It's not if. In the bread now, whether they get the flour from Roosters or Buy-Right or whatever it is, they get the flour and rice, and the split piece was the worst with worms in it, right? We are counter. We're not human beings. We are counter revolutionary. So we don't have no rights. We are animals or lower than animals. That is what we had to eat. Cockroach, worms, the white, some white ones, right? They do that. Cockroach, worms, weevil, fly, mosquito, and even ants. And we have to eat. Sometimes I used to throw. You had a time I was biting a bread. And what I see coming out is some whiskers or antennae or whatever you call it. It's like the roach asking me, what you doing here? The roach come out in a hole. I think the hole was drilled by a rat or a mice.
Mm-hmm.
So you either eat or you starve. I decided to blow it and fling. The roach knock out and go about the business. I eat my bread. You have to survive, survival. You know? And then for when they got our favorite food was dashing and fig. They used to give us dashing and fig. Sometimes you don't cook good. And the meat, most of the time, was sometimes we don't get no meat, but we get mackerel. Again, too many of us to cook mackerel for us. So they have something like a netting wire, right? You have a netting wire, like you're making a chicken coop. So they spread it in the kitchen. And they would boil a cup of hot water and dash on those mackerel they have there. We had to eat that. But when you flip the other side of the mackerel, you see all them big slime with the salt and all of that. You either eat or you starve.
Mm-hmm. What about personal? What about hygiene, toiletry? Well, I'm
Oh
not
my God.
expecting a 5-star, but what was the arrangement there for toiletry? And
Junior, you're coming close to making me break down. But if I break down, I just apologize. I tell everybody I have my little thing to wipe my eyes, but I will try to hold up, okay? Um, Sometimes days with a bed. When they remove me, and I would skip the part when I get shot. So come back to that in the
right.
end because I may break down. I may not be able to continue the interview.
Okay.
So don't go where they shoot me yet.
You okay?
They brought me to the main jail when I came from the hospital. They put me in the sea landing and I could look down over Regal Cinema. We were most times locked up in a cell 23 hours a day. The cell wall is made from some old copper or I don't know what material, but we used to call it copper because it used to make your skin busting like, like a frog back or something with all this pus and thing on it. I think it was lead. And you're not supposed to rub against lead, either lead or copper, but whatever it wasn't good for your skin.
Right.
So I used to make sure I don't lean when I sleep. The mattress we sleep on, they make it there with fiber. They take coconut shell, they make a machine that go around with nail in it, and one of the prisoners would put it right there, and the coconut shell, the thing spinning around and root out the fiber. And they put it in the sun, put it in a bag. That was our mattress. You get itch and all kind of skin in a thing from this stinking stuff. But that was our mattress, right? And just for spite, they used to wake us up like 5 in the morning when they allow us to bathe in the back of the prison.
Mm-hmm.
If you stay around Regal Cinema and you look up, you see a little PRA tower. That end had some toilet outside. So we had to go and take our bucket of poop. You had to poop in a bucket, right? So you have like a compound bucket, 5-gallon drum bucket. You put some water and you have to poop in that bucket until they allow you to go and empty it and it go down in a drain going down Paddock Springs. The place smells bad and it stinks. So always using J's and all those kind of stuff. Dettol, It wasn't sanitary. As I told you, we were not human beings. We were counter-revolutionary. But the thing is, the water's so cold. When you're bathing, you're bathing and when that water hit your back, but if you don't bathe, you stink. You have to take this cold and then you go back in your cell. And the bad food with the roach and all of that, I could have gotten shot again following Ralph Thompson. Now, Ralphie used to be a guy from River Road. Originally, he's from Celeste, Lamont up there, St. Patrick. And he called for better men. He's going to lead a strike against all that cockroach and all those things that they're making us eat. So we get good food. Well, I like food. I said, yes. I joined the strike with a bunch of detainees in the sea landing. So we're looking over the botanical garden over, Regal. On that front part, on top is the sea landing. So the back is the D landing looking at Mongelou. So I joined Ralphie, a bunch of detainees. We're not eating, we're not taking this thing. We want a balanced diet, good meal, and all of that. Well, they sent down a mile of soldiers, and everybody AK-47 had a knife on it. And they mean business because they hand on the trigger, and somebody's going to die. So that time I decided I'm not eating the food because they put pork in it, and I'm an Adventist. You're not supposed to give me pork. You're supposed to give me meatless or something else to eat, maybe beef. They're not doing that. They don't care. So I refused to eat the pork. I put it in my cell, and I did not eat, and I demand good food. So all of us now, not realizing there is a PRA called schoolboy, a real hooligan, a thug, and he commanded the rest of the soldiers. So they came down now to put the detainees on the manners. Ralph Thompson in the front talking, and we behind Ralphie, we support him. We want betterment. Well, there is a guy from Grenville called Van Noel, and he was mouthing off. He joined the protest too. We're not eating this thing, we're striking and all of that. The next thing, I hear Bodo, an officer called Frank, a PRA soldier. He pulled his gun and he aimed at that guy. The bullet passed. He had a rasta, big tied up rasta, dreadlocks on his head. I thought the guy died. The bullet broke off a piece, a piece of concrete in front of the sea landing. I never see detainee run faster yet. Everybody melts on Ralphie. We leave Ralphie alone. I go inside my cell, I hide. I ain't come back out at all. I end up eating the same pork food. I push the pig meat aside and I swallow all the worm and all of that weevil thing. I close my eye. I eat. And from then, they had Ralphie permanently locked down and they were feeding him. And Ralphie started to get sick. Make a long story short, I was the last detainee to see him because I had to go to the hospital for physical therapy. And Ralphie didn't weigh a good 90 pounds. His eye went down in a hole and he was black. When I went to the bed, the PRA went to talk to the other PRA guarding Ralphie because I was always surrounded by PRA soldiers with guns. Plus, I was always handcuffed, right, when I go to the hospital. And on Ralph lied down on his back. On his chest, in front, his rib cage, there was a cut that extended all the way below the rib cage to the other side to his spinal cord, if you want to say his backbone area. I don't know what they cut and what they took out from Ralphie, but probably Ralphie knew he was dead. Because before they brought him down to die, there was a Catholic nun. I think her name was Sister Enna or Enda or something like that, a white lady. And she used to plead with Maurice Bishop to let him go Barbados and get treatment and all of that. I come to learn now they slow poisoned Ralphie in jail. He died. Then there was another guy from Mount Rich called Etelba John in the Raymond Yard. Same thing, lack of medical treatment. He died in front of his son while he had another son in Hope Vale, which I would like the Deacon Mitchell administration to make a national museum. We need to know our history. We need to share all the lies and the propaganda. They fall in like flies right now. All the lies and the propaganda they did over the years, they're falling apart one by one.
Let's come back to the personal hygiene effects.
Yes. So from there now, when Ralphie misbehave and all of that, they decided to build a new jail. It was supposed to be maximum security. And they got the Cubans to come in. They knocked down a piece of the tailor shop and the library, and they built a new detainee maximum security jail for us. And selected me. I thought it was goat and sheep. They come into rear there and stink up the place worse than it was. And it was for human being. And when they called my name, I almost died because I didn't want to go there. And they put me on top. I was like 3 or 4 doors from Tillman Thomas, from Prime Minister Tillman, Lloyd Noel, Teddy Victor, Winston White, De Ravinair, Oolala, and some other big people. And Jensen Otway, he was a doctor from somewhere, St. George's or St. Paul's or wherever it is, I don't know, maybe St. David. So they put us there. Well, this was worse than when we were in the big jail, because that detainee jail, when the Cubans completed it, it had no window. It had no air conditioning. There was no fan. It made entirely out of concrete. On top, I'm tall, you touch the concrete, and on top of the concrete, they put pitch. So you could bake cake inside of there. By 10, 11 o'clock in the hot sun in Grenada, it is murder without fresh air. So when you go to Monjolo, just look down in the middle of the prison, you still would see portions of it black, and that portion is flat. Jail, they use the Cubans to make. And they wouldn't talk about that. They talk about the airport, they build international. They won't tell you they build a detainee jail too. So we were locked up there. The condition was worse. The constipation was worse. And sometimes we have no water to bathe for days. We don't come out. And you only had 1 hour to wash your underpants. That is if you have water. And we should put it on some galvanized to dry. So 2 days from now, we should dry. You could wear it. And you have to fight to get a bucket of water to bathe. Mind you, you have to take that same bucket of water, bring it in your cell to poop. It's the same bucket of water that Tillman Thomas used to have his bucket of water going on in the bag there now with the poop in it. And pour it on the drain, let it go down paddock. As well as Winston White and Leslie Payne and everybody else. We all used to be naked. Because we hot and they stink. So I was in a cell with Noble, Philip, and Dalton Pope. 3 of us. Most times I naked or just my underwear. And the cell was small as a goat pen. You know, sleeping on fiber mattress. And I had to see Dennis Rush sit down on that toilet 5, 6 times a day, something wrong with his stomach. And poop inside of there without air, without window oven, you know, and smell that day in, day out until he's able to go. But if I have to go in the toilet to Noble, he has to uncover that bucket, sit down on it. Now, this thing come like you're making bread, like you put yeast to rise, the feces. Poop on that. Now, I had to go in the toilet too. I had to go and open that too. And poop on it too. Sometimes it splash and hit your bottom. You can't bathe. There is no water to go and bathe. They don't let you go in the toilet. The humiliation, and what is worse, the PRA sometimes tell you they ain't have no toilet paper. They have no toilet paper. So you have to sit down there with nothing, waiting to see if they're going to give you some piece of napkin or paper when they please themselves, and laughing at us. Yep. It was bad.
Just take a quick breather again, Dennis. I want to take it slow because oftentimes you could imagine reliving those moments is tough, it's difficult, and I completely understand. For the folks who are hearing some of their family members and some of them didn't even know that they went through that. They're probably feeling just as emotional as you're feeling right now. Being locked into or being inside of this concrete cave is reminiscent of what I saw when I went to Ghana and I went inside of the dungeon. And this dungeon is where they had slaves. And just as how Dennis is explaining to us right here, as I walked into this dungeon, no windows, just high wall, it brings me back to that, what I saw inside of these hell dungeons in Ghana, where they kept the slaves before they was taken out. So a lot of people saying they can't even believe that this stuff happened in Grenada. Yeah, this stuff did happen. Stuff did happen. And the funny thing about it is, if folks like Dennis actually did a crime, you could expect them facing the time. But the fact of the matter is, they didn't do no crime. They were just accused. Someone pointed them as being a counter-revolutionary. Somebody pointed them as being against the revolution, which wasn't true. It gets worse. Hi, Dennis. So
Yes.
the whole area stink, dirty, just horrible, no good food. I could imagine having big grown men having to sit down on a toilet or a bucket
A bucket.
and poop in front of other grown men, the
Yes.
humiliation, all these things.
Yes. Well, it was meant to break you psychologically because Winston White, I don't know, I think he was on the edge because he used to go by the peephole in the door and just, yes, indeed, yes, indeed. Tillman Thomas was always quiet. Uncle Tilly never said nothing. He was always, he took his jail and the humiliation. Leslie Perry used to scream and say all kind of stuff because I guess as much Leslie Perry fought hard to get rid of Gary, you know, closing on by right, those kind of things. He was a big anti-Gary. So it's big with Bishop and them. But I guess as much it was hard on him after all the years fighting Gary, the very same people he fought to put in power jailed him while Gary did not touch him. You know? So at that time, as I said, I had nothing. I was a nobody. I had nothing to lose. I didn't have no business. Kenny Lalsing was there too. He had business. He was a businessman from St. Patrick's. I wasn't nothing. Flying kite, pitching marble, and going and break sugar cane. That was what, at that time. So to make it worse now, there was a time we got the same mackerel and fig and dashing from Brush Grove for like 2 weeks or 3 weeks. Everybody constipated. My belly was so hard. And you don't get gospel juice or Kool-Aid to wash it down. They tell you a counter. Whatever you get, you eat. They got a fake doctor. I don't know if he was a quack or a real doctor, but I think he was a fake, called Dr. Kumar. Looked like an Indian guy. And when nobody could go in the toilet, nobody, no detainee could poop, they get a little scared and they brought this Kumar up there with some medication. They say all detainees have to line up and go and take this thing because you could die. Right? My stomach was hard like a wood. And when it was my turn and Dr. Kumar gave me my potion to swallow, I didn't know how I was going to do that. I didn't used to drink rum and all of that. So, I decided the best way is to make a good lash at it and swallow fast. Right? But when that thing hit me, I run so fast from the doctor office. Right? They had the door open. I fly in my room. And the only thing I had was a toothpaste and my toothbrush. You had no Pepto-Bismol, no Maalox, nothing like to make you feel good. You could drink something like a ginger ale. We didn't have nothing. We didn't have no refrigerator. We had nothing. Just jail, right? They used to call it heavy, heavy manners. Bishop used to go on the radio and say, "You have us on the heavy manners," right? And I brushed my teeth for like about an hour because every time that smell come in my nose, the only thing I could have, I think it was Pepsodent I had at the time. And I just keep brushing my teeth, my gum bleed. I scared to stop just to smell that thing come up, whatever that I had there. Next thing now, everybody fighting for the bucket, but it's only one bucket we had. But it was three of us in the cell. Dennis Rush had a problem with his bowel, always over that bucket. And the place, look, that detainee place was so stinking, Junior, without window. You know, they didn't have to do that because the place was built with a toilet. They would not let you go. So it's to break your mind. And not only that, you have no vision. You couldn't see nothing except the four walls. Then they said detainee reading too much. We used to get little books from the library that they had. They stopped. No book. Don't read. They used to come and search the cell and take things that, if a detainee pass one to another one and so forth. They come in early morning, like 4:30, 5 o'clock, put us out, search the whole cell. Nothing, no communication. And how they build the cell, they make sure you cannot stay here and see the one over there, right? So it was both the cells on one side and the other side facing one another, but they stagger the door. One door here, the other door is over there. So I cannot watch straight across and talk to the other guy in the cell opposite to me. So it was well constructed by the Cuban for heavy manners. And as I said, they put tar on top of it to bake us. By the time 11, 12 o'clock in the day, we bake in and we can't bed. So when I raise up my armpit, right, with the butter in the bread, the yellow butter, it's like you have jaundice or something. The conditions of your perspiration and all of that, every man and the brother stinking. That way we like ram goat. We stunk.
Stick up there for a minute, Dennis, because we have a contribution, a caller on the line. Let's get it and we'll come back. Call it live.
Yeah, hello.
Hi.
Are you hearing me?
Yes.
Dennis, good night, Mr. Elimas Gilbert here.
Oh, Specky, my brother.
Yeah, man. Yes. I always like to call, and concerning the REVO because I was a child of the revolution. I was a lover of the REVO. I follow it my whole life. I was on the fort when all the bully taking place. I almost died. But anyway, I was in Sotes when they picked up Kenny Lalcine and Dr. Japal and all of them, as a little boy in Sotes. And I remember after Dr. Japal released, I think he released after the invasion, he was never the same. That man was never normal. He was never the same. And then it's every time I listen to you speak all the time. I just feel your pain. And I know you're not making up stories because every time you say the same thing. And you could know when somebody lying. I know you're not lying. But I want to ask you a question. While all that was going ahead, all you ever asked to speak to the leader? Ever asked to speak to Morris to make him know, well, I'm an innocent man? Although during the revolution different. But all you ever asked to speak to the higher, the high ranky, as we will say, to make them know, well, this is the treatment we get in here. And I'm an innocent man and look, did Morris had any idea all he was going through that? He ever visit all you in the prison?
Yes, he did. He did. Well, I didn't know what avenue, but I always used to tell the PRA that I got picked up for 2 pounds of flour. And I did nothing. I always used to state that. I mean, when they put me in the condemned cell, they didn't even know my name. So it's not like they came up there to pick me up. And I don't know if Junior have that quote in Bernard Code's last book, where he admitted that they were paranoid and they did all these things, and I was totally innocent. I did nothing. In fact, I was even a big supporter of them, of the rebel too. So when I got in there, I used to think Brother Bish gonna call me to his house, ask me some question, and tell him put me on a bus, for me to go back up. That never happened. And I took my 2 eyes and see Bishop in Richmond Hill Prison twice on the same PRA tower that looking down on Regal Cinema. He used to come there and see lighting one, he just smoking, lighting one cigarette, throw it with another one, and he never stopped. Just smoke, as if he had issues. But he just, in my view, I don't think he liked it. But he was stuck now. He had to continue the process. So the lies and the propaganda, and in fact, he went on the radio and said, I, Dennis Charles, was in a Budlal gang to overthrow the government, Maurice Bishop. When I was shot, right? He went on the radio again and said I was escaping lawful custody. So PRA shot me. Not true. That was another lie again. When Eugenia Charles and Tom Adams and other people put pressure on the revolution to either try the detainees or let them go, because you guys will have no trial for them anyways, right? And it's a lot of us. They decided to try me. So my mother ran from America, left her job, and she came down. She got an attorney called Mr. CPO. He's an old man. And in those days, he charged her $1,000, which was like $1 million back then. It's a long time ago. So he really overcharged my mom. But anyhow, when we went to the courthouse, over the market there, we went to the courthouse. They don't have no charge. Those PRA, they come and present no case. So the vehicle that I went down in with those soldiers and all of that, they had a big AK, right? And inside, my mother came, my sister came, and some other people from Tivoli. And I was very happy when he said, you're free to go, the case dismissed. That was the happiest moment in my life. But it did not last long. Because by the time I reached outside, I didn't even get a chance to go and kiss my mother or hug my mother, and she's alive right now. If you guys go to Tivoli, this bakery they call Waldron Bakery, my mom is up there, upstairs. You could go and ask her. I didn't even get a chance to go and let my mother wrap her arms around me. They came again with another set of handcuffed me, and give me a paper signed by Maurice Bishop stating that I was in a plot to overthrow the government of Grenada while I was in the courthouse.
Wow.
I get arrested again. It's like God just made me to see trouble. So I couldn't let my mother in shock see my eyes, and my sister. That one was, I couldn't. When I was happy coming, when they said you could go. But that second one, because she might have get a heart attack, right? And they fling me on that PRA jeep again, right back to jail in Richmond Hill Prison. And that is when they moved me and brought me to live, to stay with the Mongo's gang. I say, well, I protested. Well, they could beat me up. I was skinny. I wasn't big like this now. And I said, well, I know I'm from, the Tivoli area there. I don't want, they know about Tivoli people and Belma and all of that stuff. The last people I want to go and hang with is the Mongo's gang. I thought I'm dead. All they put in me there now, you might as well leave me in the cell with Kennedy Butler. But it turns out that the Mongo's gang folks were the nicest guys I met. And I found out not one of them was ever charged with a crime. And while we were locked up being abused, the Mongo's gang was all outside on the farm planting tomato and doing all of that. I used to draw the Grenada map for another Mongo's gang called Kaiser. He was a carver. I used to take the mahogany wood and polish it and nice, and they used to sell that. I don't know how much money they used to sell. I am the one that used to put St. Davis, St. Andrews, and all the parishes. I that used to draw it on the wood, and he would carve it out. So he was a carver, and he used to make that thing in prison. I don't know where they're selling it, but and varnish it up real nice. All of that. So this is what I spend my time doing. And the Mongo's gang was like, all of them was my father. They were my father. Pram, Alston Hood. Even when things change and Leslie Pay give me a job in the Grenadian Voice, I started writing them. When I don't want to go up in the country, Tan give me house, I used to go and stay in River Road, free.
Right.
Mongo's gang house.
Let me draw back just a little bit, slightly, right? Because I remember you talking about some of the abuse that you saw, that you witnessed with your own eye. Help us understand the type of abuse that was going on in the prison that you witnessed your own self, not what nobody told you happened, but you saw.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So the first move from it was me alone in the where they hung in people. Okay. And when they brought me to the Remand yard, there was a guy, I don't know if it's Montrose or Montreach, I think, probably. They used to come and pick him up all the time. And he used to tell us, when he come back, he can't walk. When he come back, he can't walk. They used to pong him below his foot, right? They don't beat him on his skin to make mark or cut or bruise. They ponging him below the bottom of his foot, so he never could walk or stand up properly. And he said was Mr. Victor Husbands and them. That time they were forcing him to say things against Kenneth Bogbudlal. But like he couldn't recite properly or he couldn't remember exactly what they want him to say, to tape him to say, what they tell him to say about Buck and them. And they used to pong him. Eventually they took him and I think they brought him in Mount Royal. They had prisoners in Mount Royal too. And guess who live in Mount Royal? So I see those things with my eye. I see abuse on other detainees with my eye. Then I see detainees going off. Take nail, big long nail like that, and pong the instep with it. Like you pong in a nail inside a piece of 2x4. People going off. I see detainee take a nail and pong the balls. We did end up in the hospital. I ran. People were going cuckoo. And as I told you, Ethelbert John, he is from Montreach. And he couldn't take it no more. He died in front of his son. He had one son in the remand yard with him, but the other son was in Hopeville. I was never brought in Hopeville, but I saw the advantage they took on the Rastafari community when they pick up those dreadlocks because they're smoking marijuana. And for instance, Rasta Eye Free is a Rasta that used to make clothes with straw, right? He's from St. Patrick's. And then there was a Rasta from Shantimel that used to sing. They used to call him Lobo or Logi, something like that. And some others. I can't remember the name now. And they used to starve him because he would not eat pork. I'm an Adventist. But if it comes to life and death, I will push the pork aside and I will swallow. And I free decided he rather we used to come the ribs on him. Because for the Rasta people, you have to give them a different set of food because they're not meat mouth. I'm a meat mouth. They're not meat mouth. Right? So they decided not going to do it. To intimidate them and break them, you either eat the pork food. I free used to just sit down and he can walk fast. He barely used to stand up. I don't know how this guy did not die. And eventually what they did with the Rasta, we were too many. So that's how the construction of Hopeville, it was a cattle pen. So they have to ship out a whole bunch of the Rasta guys to what is a concentration camp, pretty much. But I was never brought in Hopeville because I'm a meat mouth, and then they continue the abuse of them down there, the beating, forced labor, and all of that. If they don't walk, they don't eat. So they handcuff them behind their back. They can't pee. They have to pee in themselves. When they lie down, they can't get up, and all this stuff. In particular, and I know, Junior, you don't want to name names, no nothing on your show. So I'm going to say, I, Dennis Charles, I'm responsible for that. And that has nothing to do with Ride Along, right? As a disclaimer. But one of the worst pongers, if I could use that word, in terms of inflicting blows and abuse to detainees was a guy called Michael Derrick Roberts, also known as Chicken. Also known as Chicken. And we have a lot of them outside now. Some of them went over to the NNP side, and the others trying to infiltrate the NDC. And who don't want to come in directly, going through their children to influence. They don't start their own party. I'm talking about the RMC guys. They infiltrate slowly but surely. They come in through the back door. But I got news for them. Not this NDC, because I know who they are.
Yes.
All the torturers on them, I know who they are.
I don't want to go there yet.
Yes.
Let's come back in a little bit. Let's pull in a little bit. You said that you saw all these abuse, killing by individuals, just blatant. What was the motive behind them brutally beating, dismembering, just slaughtering people? I mean, I sure you probably don't know because you don't know what's in their mind.
No.
What was the situation? Why would they take someone out of the cell and brutalize them, beat them, squeeze them?
Yes. I believe ideology, when you program, now you have to remember, most of the guys who had guns, some of them had guns as young as 15, 14, 16 years old. They started in militia, which is little children, right? They cannot vote yet, but they could kill, right? This was so wrong and don't make no sense, right? I think I have to put on the light behind me, right? Could I do that?
Yeah, put on the light. Put on the light. Let's take this time now so you could do that. Guys, yeah, I told you this story is kind of gonna get
All right.
Africa, right? I must also say that we did in fact had Chicken on the program a few times, and he denied being involved in that type of brutalization of prisoners. He said he, in fact, in a previous program that we had last year, I believe, we had Dennis for the first time confronted Chicken.
Yes.
On the program, and I'm going to put just a snippet of that interaction when they first get to meet, and you hear Mr. Roberts' take on the whole thing. All right, so I'll put that on right along tonight, so you guys could take a look. All right,
yes.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is that they feel that all these atrocities don't have statute of limit. Like for instance, murder doesn't have statute of limitation. You know what I'm saying? Like somebody's going to come back and they will be, prosecuted or whatever it is. We don't want revenge or vengeance. We just want the propaganda and the lies that they used to see on Radio Grenada to end and acknowledge all the things that they did, because it was 4.5 years of lies, and they were well finessed. They were well put together lies. You tell me, Tillman Thomas cannot even kill a fly. What overthrow thing Tillman have arms and ammunition to overthrow which government? Who in Grenada believe that? Tillman came out with Reagan. So for Tillman, October 25th is Thanksgiving Day. That's the best day of his life. And for the majority of people from my area who see their children for the first time, or their loved ones, their father or whatever it is, for the first time, that is Emancipation Day for us.
Yes. Talk about Dr. Japal.
Yes. Now, Dr. Japal, I think the sin he committed was he opened, well, he saw Steve Lalcy. And for those of you who don't know who Steve Lalcy, you know, the name Steve Lalcy, I have to this person. You're right. Steve Lalcy and I went to Magnonaw College together in the same form, from Form 3, 4, 5, right? And he was gone down in planes by PRA soldiers, mistaking the car they were driving. And again, the same name come up. Chicken was present there too. Chicken was present. And I tell him, come after me. Don't go after the show. Come after me. Because I'm going to present the evidence of some of the things he did. He brutalized the brother of Tillman Thomas. I interviewed him twice in Hopeville, to the point where on the way back, when he gave the other soldiers to drop him back on the fort, right? Now they had Tillman in prison, and they had his two brothers too. So it's all three of them they pick up. When they went to Mr. Franco's house, which is Tillman Thomas' dad's house, they pretty much push a gun, a AK-47 in him out, you know. And they were picking up so many guys from Hermitage trying to get back at Tillman. Some of them had to go and sleep on Nutmeg Tree. They couldn't go in the house. It was that 4.5 years of glorious, remove the glory from there. It was hell, but they could lie. They manipulated the press. They suspended the Constitution. Radio Grenada was not free. It was just fake news, you know, like you're listening to Donald Trump, fake news. And they got away with a lot of stuff, you know, just creating stories on people and jailing them without charges and telling us we're going to rot in jail, our detention is indefinite. All of them signed by Maurice Bishop. Over 3,000 detainees passed through Richmond Hill Prison alone. Forget Hopeville. I don't know how many Rastas passed through Hopeville, but I know one died, Rasta Jerry, from the Sobeys Grenville area there, under serious beating and starvation. At one point, they put him in a drain, days handcuffed, so the mosquitoes and them could feast on him. And that place was a cattle pen. They saw cattle. And when they went in there, at first, they had no mattress. They had to sleep on the floor. When rain comes, it's murder. Grenadians doing that to Grenadians during the Glorious Revolution. We have to teach our children our history. And we cannot allow likability or he good looking and he could speak nice to cloud our vision. We need to expose the inhumanity of the revolution. Forget you might like him or not like him. Present facts. Hence the reason none of them come. They don't want to debate me. They don't want to come on a program where I'm at. You understand? They run and hide, and they cannot challenge one thing I say. Because apart from being a victim, I'm also an eyewitness to some of the things that they did. I have interviewed Tillman Thomas' brother many times. And as I said, they used to beat him on the same shin bone, kneecap, under his foot and his waist. In fact, they tie him on a tree. He go this way, he come back, he get a lasher, gun butt. He swing this way, he come back, another lasher, gun butt, and all of that. Chicken, Michael Derrick Roberts. Michael Derrick Roberts. And he knows it. A squad car left Pearls on that fateful night with the death of those guys in Plains, St. Patrick. And some of the other soldiers were from Sotters. I wouldn't call their name, but I know who they are. And that whole thing was another set of lies again. They were killed by PRA soldiers, and everybody knows it. And I know who they are. And I know who shoot who. You know? Those things are heavy. So we cannot continue the lies, fooling the nation, fooling the world. All of a sudden now they want to make this big commemoration and they want to start independence on the 19th. And who is our hero? My hero remains Tillman Thomas and Nelson Mandela. Why? Tillman Thomas, when he realized what was going on, himself and Lloyd Well and Leslie Pear too, decided they would publish. Grenada doesn't belong to any one person. No one man bought Grenada from Christopher Columbus or Kairune, the Kalinago chief, or even Captain La Grenade or Jacques Dupaquet. Nobody bought Grenada. The revolution was not constitutional. It was illegal. They came in by the gun, and they did not have election, so they could legalize the operation. They maintained power by a gun,
Right.
AK-47. So they were not legal, right? Okay, so we have to remember that. It was an illegal government, and they did a whole lot of atrocities
Let's
on fellow citizens.
let's talk about this is going to be a difficult part for you, because every time you speak about it, I could just tell you tense up a bit. But we have to go there. We have to talk about it.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
Let's talk about the day you were shot and the reason why, what happened leading up to the day you were shot.
All right, well, I know that coming. Okay. So I was shot in the Richmond yard. It was a night. And at the time, I had just come from, I think I was in maybe a week or two, right? When they took me out from the condemned cell. So I was glad to meet people, right? And as I said, they put me in a cell with Kennedy Boodlal. I don't want to go there, right? I don't want to go there. So Kennedy Boodlal was outside with a couple of other detainees. But I always tried to stay, I was always uncomfortable. Because if they come to kill him, I'm getting bullied too. So I was inside my cell, and I just lie down. I don't know what's going on. I don't know why I'm there. They cannot tell me why I'm there, but I still was thinking Brother Bish would send and call me, and I would go. They would release me, right? I wasn't a soldier. I was never in the military, and I wasn't trained. I wasn't trained. I wasn't even in Grenada, right? So I don't know what occurred outside, but I heard a gunshot, bow, but it was only one bullet. And then about 2-3 minutes after, a lot of hell break loose. Soldiers from the den, I guess, came down. They had a barracks up there. And wherever they faced, that's where the bullet go. They shot the building. Detainees started to ball. People run below the bunk bed. Their foot sticking out. They're too tall. Wherever they are, it was mayhem. And I heard one of them saying, we're killing all those so-and-so counter. We're killing all those counters on them tonight. So I made a mistake. I was on my bunk bed. I heard the guy say, killing us. So I get up and I went to the peephole. So you know the doors, for instance, you're in Brooklyn, you know the door, you have a little square where you could put your eyes, right? So it's called the peephole. But the light was, in my room, it was on. So I had my hand, right? As a peeping, I had my hand in front of my head and I had my eye peeping in the hole. It's true. I was peeping. So the first soldier passing tell me, move your so he saw, move your so-and-so from there. What you looking at? But he did not shoot me. No, I am here and he's there, I am standing here peeping at them, right? There's a little passageway and the soldiers is outside my door. I'm inside my door right here. But the one behind him was about 2 steps or so behind him, aim and let go his bullet. for my I should be dead. I have no idea why I'm alive because it was too close to miss. But the only reason, Junior, I'm here is because he had to make one or so step more, then he would come straight. So the bullet slant, right? He slant. And my hand here, it knock off. If you could see, I don't know, I hope you could see. This not good, right? You could see the long mark right here, and the bullet come out by my pulse. You see this long thing is patchwork. This is my hand, this is my finger. They mangled my hand. I don't have a 1.5 hand, right? You see? I have to pull. I can play domino. I can hold, right? So for the rest of my life, I am disfigured. I did nothing wrong. And Maurice Bishop go on the radio and telling people they catch me climbing up the wall trying to escape lawful custody. You don't try me for anything. What is lawful about my custody? You don't even know why I'm there. That was another lie told by Maurice Bishop. So the bullet came out below here and the blood was just too much because your pulse is right there where the bullet busts out with a whole bunch of flesh. So I couldn't stop the blood like a river gushing. So at first I was flinging, and when you get a bullet, you don't know. When you get shot by a bullet, that's the easiest way to die. You have no idea. Because it knocked me from in front of the door where I been on peeping them. And by the time I got to my senses, I'm in the middle of the cell all the way back. I'm like, what? I was here. Then I started to smell sulfur. And then my hand started burning me. I didn't even know. So by the time I collect myself together and I watch, I'm like, oh God, I'm shot. But the bullet really should have gone through this eye, or maybe at least go through just over my nose and my forehead. I should be a dead man because it was just way too close to miss me, right? Long story short, I fling like this, the blood not going to stop. And I start squeezing here. I can't stop the amount of blood coming on too fast. And I realized I could die for lack of blood, like you kill a pig on a Saturday morning. And I heard the PRA and them talking in front of the remand yard, so I decided, no, I ain't gonna die like that. I pushed the door. And I go to them and I was screaming, please, all you help me. Take me to the hospital. A soldier just shot me inside my cell. So it was 2 or 3 soldiers there, and I said, please, and I had my hand with all the blood pouring down and all of that. I said, he shot me in my cell, in my room. And one of them decided, hey, they're going to finish me. So he aimed at me with AK-47, and I had click. Nothing come out. So it took me a while. I realized he's killed him and want to kill me again. So I shot the ball. So that is what was giving me the nightmares when I'm beating up my wife in the night. Is running to escape. Right? Because I have to run as fast as I can. But with the running, is punch and kick. She don't have to go in another. She came already and she just went upstairs. She run. And it's hard for my family because she had to bring my children to me for me to tell them what my young life was like and the trauma I went through during the revolution. Right? So all of them take bush. They're not coming around here. So I had to make it. I see when he's opening a little bag on the side, a little pouch, to get some more bullets in a clip. So you have to take out this thing and put another one. Well, that time I'm dead. So I really did run. And I still was thinking I'm going to get something in the back of my head. But I had to make it inside. And I dove down on the bunk bed. Kennedy used to sleep upstairs and I below. It's a double. So he on top me and I below. Right? Hours Sometime in the morning, I don't know if they get permission from Code, Austin, or Bishop. They came, they got me, and they still handcuffed me on the same bullet hand and brought me down to the prison, to the general hospital. Well, now I'm surrounded with soldiers. Everybody armed to the teeth, ready to kill. And they came with Rasananang and another guy from America called Mr. Um, uh, hold on, Antonio Langdon. Antonio, I think he come from Happy Hill or Montgomery in that neighborhood there. And they pick him up. And a certain PRA, last name is David, he'll treat him and all of that. And so on. They did a lot of wrong things, plenty wrong things, but they did it with impunity because you know what? They got the gun and you can do nothing about it. Heavy manners for you. And they just continue violating the rights of Grenadians. In fact, they suspended the Constitution. You had no protection. You couldn't even get an attorney. They're scared because they're going in jail too, right? Like how they did Tillman. And they just were free to rain terror on the Grenadian people and still call it a glorious revolution. So,
speak about Doc.
yes. So Doc was a security guard, security for Maurice Bishop. He is from the Snell Hall, Monktrich area up there. And he was connected, I don't know if he was a Muslim, I think. He followed Islam or something like that. But anyhow, when the big breakup came and they start arresting people like, let's say, James Sierry, Kenny Lal Singh, Winston White, Donville Nichols was a teacher, I think in RC school. Dr. John. It is a lot. But the whole story is there was a falling out. And then, yes, those Tivoli guys too, right? There was a falling out. All of them were connected, revolutionaries. And Doc became a counter now. Because once you start to arrest, you have to arrest everybody, the best friend, the cousin, anybody they hang out with, and even the schoolmates, right? It's a broad brush. That is how it works in communist countries. They pick up you, they pick you up, they pick up your best friend too. And then they pick up your best friend and girlfriend. There is no end in sight to who they're picking up. That is how it's done in communist countries. And forget trial. They don't need evidence. Somebody just look at you and they tell you, you look like a counter, you're a counter. And folk come in jail and they don't even know what they inside there for. PRA don't know either. So Doc apparently lost favor with the revolution, right? And I heard he was involved in one of the shootings in Montrose, and somebody died. Now it is revenge time. So when they were looking to take out Doc and others, they were patrolling and all of that, the area between Montrose, Montrich, Montrule, Plains, Coquelin, because you could pass through the shortcut and come out in Plains area there. And I think, unfortunately, that time, Steve Lalcy used to be a cadet. And I think one of the Stanislaus brothers, he was a cadet too, training in the cadet, but he wouldn't join the cadet and merge it with the PRA. He remained a cadet and he wouldn't join the PRA. And they had a roadblock in Plains. And they said it is mistaken identity. They didn't go to kill them, but some of them died already, and they get the order to finish off Steve. A dead man tell no tale. Right? So they did that. And they put the killing on Doc. Doc had nothing to do with that. So then they went up in the mountain after Doc, pick up his girlfriend so she could lead him to where he does hide and all of that. And they executed him using guys from Sotes and so forth. So it became apparent that things were getting out of hand. And it reached a point where you can't stop it. Dr. Japal looked at Steve when he died. Steve had so many bullets inside of him, it didn't even make sense doing an autopsy the right way. Andrew Courtney patted his scalp in the back, wasn't there, it was missing. The amount of bullet he get through his head, right? We used to call him Andy in McDonald College. I knew him in school. He went to McDonald College. And the other two Stanislaus guys, they buried in Mali Cemetery at the top. You see some big white graves there. And it was the PRA that killed them. But they came up with a good lie, give Steve a state funeral. All the big guys in the revolution came there. All the time they knew it was them that killed them. Our history needs to be told properly. And as I said, nobody's perfect, I know that. But certain people you have on a pedestal and you think, is a saint or some angel, there is more information to come. We have been lied to so badly. So badly. I gave you part of an excerpt, part of Bernard Coates' book, where I don't know if you could put it up on the screen. If you have it, you could put it up on the screen, please.
Yes, go ahead. I'll work on getting that done right now.
Right. Where I spoke with him and I forgive him. He's, remorseful, and he said it was joint leadership and he take, full responsibility for what went on. They lied a lot though, but he took responsibility, let's say 50-50, joint leadership, he and Maurice Bishop. Yeah, this is on the screen, and if you scroll up, you'll see where he admit all the things they said about Kennedy Budlal, it wasn't quite that, it wasn't true like that. And Dennis Charles, where you have my name, I did nothing wrong, and they were paranoid.
Right, so in the book here, as Bernard Coates, he said, I believe now that we read far more into the situation than was actually the case.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Said Dennis Charles, who I did not know, was also an innocent victim of our collective paranoia.
Yeah. So it was paranoia. They used to tell us you smell like a counter. I don't know what a counter smell like. Or you look, if a PRA like your girlfriend and she don't want to talk on him, with him, then of course, you're a counter. And then he's going after her, you go to jail. Not only that, when you're in jail, Victor husbands used to try to demand favors. In fact, from one of the Mongo's gang, Kaiser, he lived in John Anglais. That's the same one I used to draw to make the map from the mahogany wood. And she came back and tell Kaiser, he wants to release Kaiser, but she has to sleep with him first. Kaiser was in the remand, in the infirmary, they call it, when you're sick. So they had most of the Mongo's gang, Pram, I don't know Pram real name, Tan, which is Alston Hood. They had another Mongo's gang called Heads. I know all of them, because I thought they would squeeze me and choke me to death. And one came, his name was Willie. He told me, my father. I said, my father is a man, they used to call him Mr. Renge. He had a shop. He said, I used to come and take a drink with your father. Everybody know my father used to drink rum. Everybody know that, right? So they protected me, and not a fly could come near me. Not a fly could mess with me. The Mongo's gang were so when I got out, I used to bring mangoes and oranges and all of that. I get off the bus by Paddock, and I go up John Anglais, and I used to go and sit down in Kaiser House, spend half a day with he and his wife, Miss Queenie, nice lady, she from Rose Hill. I was young, but they were very nice to me, and none of them were ever charged. All these people you hear, they say the Mongo's gang kill. They couldn't get one of them to charge them with nothing. They were free to walk up and down all over the place while they had people like Miso who did nothing lock up under 23 hours, sometimes 24 hours a day. This thing was, I don't know how to call it, crimes against humanity. But of course, everybody loved Bish. And he got away with murder. We have to correct our history so we don't repeat those things again. It is my wish that we could heal and come together. We don't want revenge. Most of those guys that did all that ponging and torturing, they are outside. I know they are ashamed for what they did. And it has a few of them who were worse than Michael the Chicken Roberts. And I tell him to his face many times. And I want him to debate me on a one-on-one, and he's not going to do it. Because I know a lot more of what he did. I know a lot of stuff that he did, even before the revolution. Right? I want to debate him one-on-one, and he's not going to do it. But beside him, there are others who are worse trying to get into the NDC right now. And they should not be welcome.
Let's talk a little bit. In fact, let me play back this video because it is for this reason that today, the 25th, is known as Thanksgiving Day in Grenada. Check out this video.
Still pouring in more combat troops who arrived at the new airport, one wave following another. The build-up coincided with the arrival of helicopter gunships, all urgently needed reinforcements to end the fighting as quickly as possible. In the words of one American officer, they were using whatever it takes to free the island. But even as these men came ashore, the invasion forces were still facing intense fire from the last remaining Cuban strongholds in the hills surrounding the airport. For the first time, the Americans, who allowed only their own news teams in, showed how their heavy artillery was trying to pound the opposition forces into an early submission.
I want you to take us back to October 25th.
Yeah.
This day, 40 years ago.
Yeah.
The American soldiers came in what we know as or celebrated as Thanksgiving Day.
Yeah.
Tell us about that day.
Yeah.
And how it felt to be free.
Yes. Well, I believe that the Lord said enough is enough. Grenada at that time was ruled by the RMC, which is just an extension of the PRG, because the guys that made up the RMC that had Grenada under Corfu, according to General Hudson Austin, they were the same PRA soldiers back in the PRG. Now, they executed most of the ministers and so forth, Maurice Bishop, etc. But it was the same PRA guys who were torturing and brutalizing us in the first place. Anyhow, the removal of Maurice, Unison Whiteman, Bain, Gemma, Thelma, and all the others, and so on, Jacqueline Kreff, and so on, so now they really were in charge. Supposedly, Bernard Cord resigned from the party and Bernard Cord resigned from government. Now, this is something Grenadians have to look at. And I'm just asking you to apply wisdom, right? Mount Willel, Bernard Cord House is close to the, what is called Parliament Building. A little further back is Maurice Bishop's house. You could pelt a stone from one house to the next house, right there, right? So the school children went and they got Maurice. And Maurice decided to go down in the market, everybody waiting for him to address the crowd. I think Specky was there too, waiting to hear something from the comrade leader. Fine. Morris ended up on the fort. For whatever reason, Morris ended up on the fort. Bernard Code was on the other fort, Fort Frederick. Well, if you're not in government, you're not connected to the military, you're not connected to the party, you're just an ordinary anybody, right? Why are you in a military barracks on the fort while Maurice Bishop go to the other fort? So it's fort for fort. In other words, who pull first win?
Right. Well, many would say Morris didn't have a choice. He was under house arrest.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yes.
He was taken to the fort.
He was taken to the fort. Right. And guess who was the go-between in terms of what to do or not to do? That came from Fort Frederick, where Bernard Code was, along with what's his name? Hudson Austin, because the command was given. And then when they executed, they had to let up a flare, which was, I think, a red flare after they executed them, right? When they breached the compound. Right. It was the same Michael Derrick Roberts. Chicken was the go-between between the two forts. He claimed he didn't shoot anybody, didn't do anything. Right. Well, what were you doing? And then drove back. You remember he said that on your show. To the fort where Austin and them were. And Bernard Code was there. Why is it you are shuffling? What is it you're shuffling? From one fort to the other fort. Why didn't you stay home?
Yes.
This guy is fooling me. That is why he would never debate me. I'll pay him and he's still not going to do it. Right? And I know some other things about him which I'm not going to say on your show. But with respect to October 25th, it was supposed to be bloodier than that. Because some of the detainees from Tivoli, they already started removing them. They were going to execute Tillman and all of them, Kennedy Budlal and all of them. Anyways, they started moving them. And I understand the plan was to hand grenade them in what they call the underground prison. Shove all of them there and just throw grenades and blast them off. The guys came there with blood on their pants and shirt with the same guns that they executed those people on the fort with, ready to come and finish the leadership in the prison. Right? And they came straight to the detainee jail, which is maximum security place, to do it. But for some reason, I think Reagan was on the horizon already coming in, suckling grenade or whatever it is. Now they had to make defensive plans and preparations and all of that. And they left to come back to kill those guys and them. They knew they were dead, pretty much. They were going to kill them and they were going to wipe out Lightwell and all of them. So things get tough. And they realize there is an invasion coming. So they had to make their plans and all of that. But you know what? Not one of them died. All the bad and terrible, they were terrible and whatever it is. Everyone, they put on dress. They dress like women, they run. And when they came, it was a prisoner. The prison officials ran too. It was a prisoner that got the key, the bunch of keys, and thought to go and help out the detainees because there is no way they could come out. They would stay in there and rot like corned beef with the key outside and from cell to cell to release them, you know. So for these guys, do they care that a foreign power invaded the country to get them out of there? If some of those who oppose October 25th had their mother or their father in there, do they care is Reagan that come in to get them out? They would be singing a different tune. So as I say, show some empathy. Have a heart. Don't sit there like you're that pious, pontificating for us. what our freedom is, because you don't agree a foreign power come, and because of that, detainees get out of jail, and those rastas get out of Hopeville. You have a problem with that. You oppose foreign people going into somebody else's land, but you never oppose rastas dying of maltreatment and hunger in Hopeville. You never oppose detainees being detained indefinitely in Richmond Hill Prison under heavy manners, the worst conditions known to man. Even to this day, the Jews, Israel would hunt down any Nazi sympathizer they could get, or people that work in a concentration camp, whether in Argentina or wherever they could find them, and bring them in Israel and hang them. I am not saying we want to do that. But what I'm saying, when you do those kind of heinous crimes, there should be consequences and penalties. The brutality the PRA soldiers inflicted on innocent Grenadian people. I know they turning around and talk about invasion. We should have gotten the invasion before. We like the invasion in Tivoli, because a lot of our people up there, and Monkridge too, places like that, were wrongfully jailed. Who died. I talked about Brenda Phillip, and I told her daughter I wouldn't mention her again. This girl was beaten so often to say things she know nothing about with respect to Bog Budlal. Make up stories and recite it so they could record her to implicate Buck in things that they want her to say.
Yes.
And they would beat her up and then inject her with something that make you hallucinate. It's called truth serum. And bring her in the madhouse and tell her she mad. And use electric shock and shock her, as if they're going to execute. There was this detainee I talked to you about already from Tivoli. I think he get about $40,000 or $60,000, where they pump up his balls. He used to pee blood. His name is Winston Simon. His nickname is Broco. So if you go to Tivoli and you're going on conference like you're going to Moonlight City, then you have the clinic on that side, right on the other side, on the bottom road. That's where he used to live. The atrocities they did. And this other one from Monkridge, Mikey James. They make his fingers dance, ponging up his finger on the ground. They hold him down and they handcuff him and they beating him and take a gun butt and say they're dancing his fingers. They're making his fingers dance. Flatten it. And I know the soldiers who did that. There's another officer called Officer Kutain. He's right on Canal, near to Major, on the same side with Major, if you're coming towards Progress Park. They drill the head with a screw. And they take the bayonet from a AK-47, make a big crater in the hand. I could send you the video. I interviewed him twice. And I just given you a few examples.
Yes.
The girls and them, they had female detainees too. And one called me from Canada and told me sometimes days they don't let them bathe. And the wickedness is when they have their monthly cycle and the period is on, they leave them stay with the blood soaking their clothes. 4 days, 5 days, 6 days in the same blood without a change of underwear or any water to go wash themselves. No bathing. I ain't talking about beating and other things yet. I'm just talking about that part, which is called psychological warfare. And those guys, they also make noise all night. They can't sleep. Deprivation. They deprive you of sleeping. So Grenadians used to go in Russia and learn torture, how to squeeze balls and different things, right? Some used to go to East Germany and different places, Cuba and different places. And yes, a number of Grenadians came back as dentists and doctors, pilot. Some, they brought trailers and they learned to fish. And some of the good things the Cubans did in terms of education, a lot of people went to Cuba and got educated. But it's the Cubans that built the detainee maximum security.
Kenny
So the only time,
Kenny Lal Singh is on the live right now.
oh, tell him to come in and chime in.
He said that you're very correct about the brutal events under the PRG. Said that Danville Neckles' toes were ponged with a hammer. That's his recollection as well.
Yeah, tell Kenny, hello. I was in the same, we used to call up the Siberia. And I think below the 2 levels, the detainee jail. And I think below was what? The Bay of Pigs, Kenny? Remind me if I forget. But on top was Siberia. So I don't know why they take me as a little boy and put me with Winston White and these people and them and like, well, I don't want to stay with those guys and them because that looked like death. And Tillman Thomas, you know? I don't want to stay with those guys and them, but I had no choice. Wherever they grab me and fling me with, you know, but the problem was because of the shooting, they figured out if they release me, Tom Adams and maybe Eugenia Charles, they're going to parade me all over the place and take pictures of what they did. And that would destabilize, you know, all the lies they make. Because Grenada was run on lies for 4.5 years, big lies. And they massage the lies and people believe them. So with me now, I am enemy number 1 because I'm an eyewitness to stuff.
Yes. I wanna open up the phone lines for a bit to get some calls from some of our viewers.
Yeah.
We have about 10 minutes before we wrap it up, so we want to give this opportunity to folks who want to call in.
Yeah.
Speak to Mr. Charles on the live. All right, so you could call right now. The number is 718-701-5720. Let's take a quick commercial break and come back in with your calls. We'll be right back.
For a limited time, the NLA has dropped all of the 2X balls from the multi-X draw. This means that you, our valuable players, have greater chances of multiplying your winnings up to 5 times more in our 2X drop promotion. Yay! And that's not all. As an additional bonus, there will be fewer free play or FP balls to draw from too. Now you have more reasons to add multi-X to your playway bets. So, value your dreams, win your way, and multiply your winnings up to 5 times more in the NLA's 2X Dropped promotion. Promo runs until Friday, 20th October, 2020.
Again, guys, we're looking at the events of October 25th, 1983, where a multinational force, primarily consisting of the U.S. military personnel, landed on Grenada. The military operation aimed to restore and protect American students, at least that's how it was themed, especially the medical students, right? Again, yes. The invasion was swift, and as a result, it captured some of the coup leaders and restored a more pro-Western government on the island of Grenada. Mr. Derek Charles happened to be one of those prisoners that was held during that time, and he's here again sharing his story with us. We're giving you guys an opportunity to call in right now if you want to ask a question, if you have any input. It's your opportunity to call right now. The number is 718-701-5720. Number is on the screen, 718-701-5720. All right? Phone lines are now open. Dennis, let's talk about you being free. You're out now.
Yeah.
Take us through that time.
Well, my uncle came from England, and he was a big anti-Gary supporter in England, supporting Bishop when he was up there. And he visited me in the den, which is an area separate from the prison. They make us walk handcuffed behind our back with some AK, PRA soldiers and stuff. And there's a partition. He on that side of the glass, I am on this side. And he visited me. I told him I didn't do anything. And he wasn't too pleased about it. But he was a big wig. He was a bush. you know, what we call bourgeois. And I'm a big supporter in England of Bishop of the Revolution. In fact, his son, which is my first cousin, was involved in shipping down guns in Barilla, Greece, right? James Wadali, right? That's my uncle's son. So he's my first cousin. James used to come and visit me in the hospital too. And I told him I did nothing. See if he could talk to Bishop. My mother, when she came down, she tried to speak, being that my uncle is a Wadali, with Jacqueline Creff. Jacqueline Creff, mother is a Wadali too. Right in Tivoli there. And Jacqueline turned around and said, no, let him stay down there, leave him there. Like he good for him or something of that sort. She never went and talked. That time she was dating Bishop. So my mother thought maybe if she go through the back door, she could whisper to Maurice, to the good little boy. Jacqueline was not having it, although she come from Tivoli. And Bishop used to be in Tivoli with those guys smoking weed and all of that. Right by Livingston Nelson's grandmother, which she called the buggy. He used to come there and smoke with them. And so my other uncle in the band, you always hear me play Calabash. Grenada, may God bless you. Da 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 da. The brass man in that band, that's my uncle. He right in Tivoli next day too. So they came and then they're like, oh my God. So they had a little get together and they told Bishop, well, we fought Gary for those excesses and we cannot come and have a revolution and we're doing the same thing. Gary gone. And we're doing worse. If I did something, try me. And if I don't have no charge, you have to release me. After how many years in jail? So then I get a phone call and an officer come and tell me, pack up my things. Tomorrow morning, they would release me because I didn't have any, they didn't have any jeep to take me up to the country, any vehicle. And that is how I was released. So had I not have an uncle who had a little standing, right, I wasn't going to be released at that time. So that is how I got out.
Yes. We have a caller on the line, Dennis. Let's take this call. Caller, you live? Where are you calling us from?
Hi, I'm calling you from Grenada.
Grenada, go right ahead.
Yes. So, Mr. Dennis, to be honest with you, I very emotional right now to see that there are people still alive that have, information about the revolution, and this large part of our history have not been properly documented, and young people today, people talking about young people like myself and in the early 40s didn't, they were small maybe at the time of the revolution, or they was not around when in time of the revolution, and we don't know anything about the revolution. So this year, for the first time in my whole entire life, I've been hearing about revolution and Morris Bishop and the PRG and all this kind of thing. And it's first time in my whole entire life. I'm 33 years old, and it's first time in my whole entire life I got so much information about the revolution. And I think people like you need to round up people that has information about the revolution and try to document something so that the younger generation can know the history, right? And when you know your history, you will know where you're going, you know where you come out from, so that we can understand what really take place in the revolution. All right. So thank you much. That's my piece of the pie.
Thank you so much, caller. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah. And what he said is correct. The younger generation has no clue. And certain things, I'm a big NDC, and I would support the NDC till I die. And I have so much faith and courage in Prime Minister Dickon Mitchell. Don't underestimate him. He's a very smart guy, and I believe we would get to a truth forum and we would properly document our history, the good, because there were good out of the revolution, the bad, and the very ugly. We have to put them out there.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Let's take another call. We have another call on the line. Caller, live. Where are you calling us from?
Hello?
Yeah, hi. Good night, caller. Go right ahead. You're live. Where are you calling us from?
Good night. I'm phoning from Toronto.
Yes, hi, Toronto. Go right ahead.
Yeah, good evening. My name is Shirley Simpson, Pastor Shirley Simpson, and I'm listening to the topic, to the conversation. And this is the very first time that I'm hearing exactly what happened during the revolution. I know about it, about the revolution, but I was not in Grenada at the time. I was here in Toronto. But now it's the first time I'm hearing everything. It is really heartbroken. I tried to put a comment for you. I forgot your name, gentleman in the red shirt. And I want to say right along, I applaud you for having him speak, and I applaud him for speaking. I've been praying right now, listen to you, for protection for you. That the Lord keep a divine hand upon you, safe, that no harm will come to you for speaking truth. But I thank you for educating us, because I never knew all this wickedness happened. I didn't think that there's some Grenadians that are so cruel to shoot you like that, beat people like that, keep the women in prison like that with a periods and not have them change. I think this is cruel. And I wish there was a way, if some of them were alive, these people that did such cruelness to humanity, I wish there was a way they could have been brought to justice, because this is really cruel. And I thank you for sharing, and God bless you for being truthful. And I believe every single word you said. I believe you, and may God bless you. And right on.
Amen.
Thank you so much, caller. Sorry, I cut you
Amen, Pastor. Amen. Thank you very much.
We have another call on the line. Caller, you live. Where are you calling us from?
Okay. From Grenada.
Grenada, go right ahead.
Yeah, from Grenada. Well, actually, Carriacou anyway. So, yes, I have to tell the gentleman there's so much information that he's given that I never had over the years myself. I didn't know that so much things happened to you, sir, and the others in prison. I mean, this is heartbreaking for me. I sympathize with you and your family for all that you went through. I mean, it brings tears to my eyes listening to you talk like this. And I know the facts. What you're saying is factual. When I start listening to this stuff that you went through, I shed tears. Be honest with you, I shed tears. And it hurt my feelings to know Grenadians went through all this torture and all these things. I mean, thank God that you're still alive and you can share the story. So all of us can, people like me and others, can know what take place during a revolution. Although we know there's casualties in revolutions, but not innocent people like this.
Yes.
Sorry I went through that, but give thanks to the Almighty to have you alive today to share that story. And I'm very grateful that you can come out and ride along and share it with people like me and others to listen and know what you went through and other people that was with you in prison go through as well. Revolution is one thing is to take lives, and I never supported no war, no thing like this. I never tried to support any war, because war brings destruction and a lot of innocent deaths, like what's going on in Afghanistan right now, and in Israel and Pakistan. I mean, these are the things that we try to avoid, and not taking the guns and to bring peace. You'll never get peace by taking guns.
Yes.
In any way, so I really share your pain.
Thank you.
Like I tell you, I tears got my eyes, and I'm grateful for God that having you alive right now to tell that story. Right along, this is a good program. and it educated me a lot.
Yes.
Things I didn't know about the revolution is what I learned tonight.
Yes.
And I wish the gentleman all the best going forward. And I know that, he too went through a lot of traumatized and being traumatized over this. And I know he gets treatment, therapy, and, counseling and stuff like that.
Yes.
I mean, go through all these things to get to feel this way, to tell that story. You have to go through some system to be collective
and
in your mind.
and a lot of therapy and a lot of therapy. But thank you, caller. We have a number of calls that we got coming in, but we really appreciate you calling in. Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
We got another call. Let's take this call. Caller, where are you calling us from?
Hi, I'm calling you from New York.
New York, go right ahead.
Hi, good evening, Junior.
Yeah, hi, caller. Go right ahead. You're live.
Good evening. Good evening, Brother Dennis.
Good evening.
You adopted me as my big brother. I know his pain. I actually got very emotional today listening to Brother Dennis again because it's a period in time that I actually buried. I actually listened to him on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Listened to him on Sunday, and it dug up memories again. It dug up memories again. I just wanted to say that the families of the people who are incarcerated, I don't think even them were dealt with. We speak about the prisoners. But we don't speak about the families and the impact it had on them socially, physically, mentally, financially, because a lot of moms were left with children in the twinkle of an eye and not knowing what tomorrow would bring. I mean, I can speak of my experience as a child, knowing what I went through. And when Brother Dennis speaks about the AK-47, it's actually something I remember. There was just bear with me, Junior. There was I think a lockdown. I think a prisoner had escaped that time. I think, Dennis, if you remember that, when the prisoner escaped and they locked the prison down. And we had to go up there. And we had to get authorization from the general to go. And
Don't cry. You're going to make me break down. So I'm trying to hold up.
When
Go ahead.
we went there, and this was it. When we got there, you heard the thunder in the young man's voice, and he said, "What's your mission? What's your mission?" And we had a letter, and we told him who the letter was from and who we came to see. And I remember who was in charge of the prison at the time, and he said he called because he saw us there, because the place was like a vacuum. It's like you couldn't, a pin drop and you would have known. And he called to the booth and he asked, well, what were they there for? And he said who sent them and so forth. So they went to get my dad. And imagine my dad as a child. And you see your father being escorted with that kind of machinery behind him. And the person who did it was a 16 and a 15-year-old. A 15-year-old. And my dad, this big grown man, being escorted to see us. Okay? I never forget that moment. There are other moments that I remember, but that was one that stood out. And I remembered after my dad was arrested, it took us a month before we saw him. And I've never seen my dad with a beard. And when we first saw him, after I think a month or so, he had a beard. And, there was some other things that transpired that stayed with me. And I thought I buried it. And I remembered going to the prison years ago. Well, not years ago, probably about 3 years ago. I went back home and I happened to go up there for a reason. And I broke down. I entered the gate and I couldn't move beyond that. It took me a good maybe half an hour because I cried, I screamed, and I just didn't know where it came from. But it all came back of that experience we had. I remember we would go visit my dad, after the escape took place, the lockdown. And prior to that, we would sit, I call it the rotunda because it was a beautiful, looking back at it, was beautifully done in terms of carpentry. So we sit there. You're talking about the Boulder brothers and their parents and stuff. We would sit there, we were bananas and stuff. They got a little older at that time. And then after the shutdown, they made a booth. Dennis, I don't know if you remember that. There was a booth at the back. I could see, if I closed my eyes, I could see the painting on the wall. There was a little painting above, on top of the wall there. And I couldn't touch my dad. It was a mesh like you did the folku, as you would say. And
your dad used to sing for us. He was good.
I know, Dennis. I
singing.
know he sang. I was told by you and others that he used to sing. He had a beautiful alto voice, and
He was a good alto, and the next person I hear as good, well, almost as good, is Randall Robinson. Just to be on a light note, because you're starting to make me cry, and then I'm going to end the show. But I know who you are. I was on the same landing with your dad in maximum security upstairs, the detainee jail.
Right.
Yes, I know who you are.
Yes, and even the Honorable Tillman Thomas, he said to me he learned yoga because of my dad, and he practices it up to today because of my dad, But we never spoke about the families. We never talked about the families and the impact that it had, Junior. And I don't want to take away too much from Dennis because it's about his story, but his story ties into mine. And I can tell you the morning that my dad was arrested, it was about 5 a.m. And they tore the house up. And I'll never forget when they took my dad, they took him up to the militia base and then they brought him back down. My dad was a lonesome man sitting in the back of a Rover. This is a man in the community. At that time, started in the community, businessman, everything. And he was sitting in the back of a Rover. He did not eat. They didn't give him nothing to drink. Nothing. Just sitting in the back there for what? What did he do? And there are stories. Yes. And I think I have mine, others have theirs. But when we talk about reconciliation and the truth coming out, yes, there's good, the bad, and the ugly, very ugly. I think the families, the impact that it had on the children, on the wives, on the mothers, on the fathers, and the cousins and so forth, we need to talk to them too.
Yes.
Because the brutality just did not start and stop with the prisoners and the detainees. It was extended to the families.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Paula.
So thank you so much for hosting my big brother.
Yes.
I appreciate you taking the time to do this, Junior. And Dennis, we would talk, bro.
We would talk. Hang in there.
All right.
All right.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for the time.
Thank you
appreciate
so much.
it.
No problem. I just want to apologize preemptively that we are getting calls. Sometimes we're getting calls in the middle of a conversation, and you may think that I'm cutting you off, but I'm not cutting you off. I just cannot accept your call while someone else is on, right? So that's why your phone is being rerouted. So I'm not blatantly just cutting you off because I saw a number of people was calling, but I couldn't take your call. So I apologize for that, okay? Let's just call back the person who was calling quite a few times. And then we will definitely have to do somewhat of a part 2 because we're over 2 hours right now and we have to wrap up. All right, so let's take this final call and then we're going to wrap it up. Dennison, how are you holding up? How are you doing? You good?
Hello.
Yeah, right.
All right.
Almost.
Okay, you're holding up nicely. Let's take a caller. Caller, I saw you was calling. I couldn't take your call because I had someone else on the line. So I'm calling you back. Go right ahead, caller. You're live.
Hi, Junior.
Hi.
Yes. This program is so good. And I'm calling to tell you that I know Dennis. And everything Dennis says is true. Every word Dennis tell you on this show is true. And my personal experience with, everything that took place, I don't like talking about it because, it's very, very emotional. And people sometimes, they don't know. So they would say, oh, the revolution was nice, it was nice. But those of us that lived it, it was not easy. I had a baby the same year
My baby born in May. And when this thing happened, we couldn't get no food. Sometimes they give us time to run outside to buy some food. And it had a time the food finished and we had no food. And I have this baby that I have to nurse. It was not an easy time. And people need to know the history. A lot of people, they don't know. They don't know the history. So everything they're running about revolution. The revolution was not good for me. It was not. It was a very painful time in my life, and I would not wish that on my worst enemy. You hear what I tell you, Junior? It was not a good time. The place was upside down. It was upside down, and I have a friend that went to jail, and every time she come up to New York, she would tell me, she would say, Sharon, you know what I went through, and look at me, I'm still alive. And she said, what happened to all of them? What happened to them? Because the sadness she had in her, she did nothing, and they had her in jail. So my contribution towards the revolution, it was not a nice time in my life. It was the worst time I experienced in my entire life. And I could only talk for me. I cannot talk for other people because I don't know other people's situation. But my situation with a young baby in my hand, when I tell my daughter what I went through, my daughter does be so sad. She said, Mommy, I didn't know because they never tell us that in school. I said, no, that's why I'm telling you. And they need to educate children and tell them the history. It's not only the good thing they must hear, but they must hear about the bad things too. Okay?
Thank you.
So it was very, very hard for us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Junior.
Thank you so much, caller.
Thank you, Sharon.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, boy.
That was the last call, but this one will have to be the final call.
Yeah.
Caller live, where are you calling us from?
Yeah, good night, Grenada.
Hi, Grenada. Go right ahead.
Hear me?
Yes, go right ahead, caller.
Hello. Yeah.
Yeah. Grenada, it's a good program tonight, yeah?
Thank you.
So what I think in a topic like that, sometimes it's good to bring people from different sides of views on the REVO, because there was people for and there was people against.
Absolutely.
You know? So next time you can balance it, like bring somebody who was for the REVO, who was against the REVO, who, you know, so everybody can give their
absolutely. And to that point, caller, we're the platform where everyone have a story to tell. We had Michael Derek Roberts on the program before. He was a part of the PRG. He was in the top echelon, top brass. So he spoke on his part about it. And we always have debates where we bring in both sides to give their perspective on it. So this is Dennis Charles' story, and this is his story. We will have other conversations coming up. The other thing that I find very, very difficult from a broadcaster point of view is it's very difficult to get folks to come and talk about this. I've tried. The only thing I haven't done is probably put a handcuff on them and pull them on the program. But I've tried. I've called.
Okay.
And from ignoring my calls to just blatantly tell me they don't want to talk, I've gotten all of them. So we really try. We'll continue to try to get the story out there. But we appreciate you.
Okay.
Thank you so
good
much.
Job.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. All right. People are clamoring to hear more, but we are at that point. So, Dennis, we may have to do a part 2.
Let's do a part 2 because I haven't even told you my near death in the hospital, because I told you in the beginning I'm scared to go too deep with the shooting and all of that. When they realized the bullet that they shot me was a poison bullet, they had bullets that would kill you and rot in your flesh. That is how they were injecting me round the clock every 3 hours.
Yes.
With bullets. So that's another conversation, and I'm scared of it. So I don't know. We're going to have to do that in the end, just in case if I can take it. If I can take the heat, we're going to end the show.
Yes, absolutely.
All right. Okay.
We will. And Mr. Kenny Lal Singh, we appreciate you so much. Mr. Kenny Lal Singh been on the program before, but we did not discuss this because at the point in time that he came on, it was a whole different topic that we was discussing. So we did not get a chance to discuss this. But Mr. Kenny Lal Singh we definitely could have this conversation at any time to give a historical preview, a historical landmark, some historical information to our viewers. So we appreciate you. And I know Mr. Kenny Lal Singh is the one, he always takes my call. So he's the one, he never avoids a call from Right Along Live, and we appreciate that. Dennis, we also know that you're doing a book. If you could end on that note, and then we'll take a part two. We'll announce when we're going to do a part two. Tell us about the book. And
Yes, the book is called Under Heavy Manners, which was a slogan the revolution used as they divided us, and it was us versus them. So we were counter-revolutionaries, so they could treat us in any way and put us under heavy manners. Grenada never had that kind of philosophy before. So it means it doesn't matter what brutality you mete out on others, them, the other people over there, they are counters. It is all well and good, and it's sanctioned by the government. And they would just get a detention order, put your name on it from Maurice Bishop. You don't even know what you do. Don't know you. And the funny thing about it is, as I said, when my uncle and them went with him to meet him and demanding that I get released, he turned around and asked his soldiers what they picked me up for. Although he was on the radio saying, I'm in a Budlal gang, you should remember that. I'm in a Budlal gang to overthrow government. You don't know. He asked them and they say I was mannish. I wasn't mannish, I was hungry. I wanted to go and cook some oil long. So I had no intention of going in no jeep with people I don't know about with all this amount of gun in there. With my 2 pounds of flour. But I was mannish. So then I'm a counter. I want to go and eat. So we're going to do another show. And thank you so much. I held up. I didn't think I could make that long.
You did.
But I did. My wife run and my children take off. They upstairs lock up hiding. So until next time, my fellow Grenadians, we meet again. But yes, our history needs to be told. And the younger generation who don't have a clue that still glorify the revolution, don't have an idea what it really did or meant, they need to be educated or re-educated. And one of the best ways to do that, let us have a truth forum. Let all the parties come together, and that is how we would flesh out everything and unite the Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit-Matic. We want to come together and move forward. As Prime Minister Dickon Mitchell said, we are moving forward. We don't want to go back into, and they're trying to get into government again and influence. But these guys need to go. Thank you very much, Junior.
Thank you so much, Mr. Charles.
We're still facing intense fire from the last remaining Cuban strongholds in the hills surrounding the airport. For the first time, the Americans, who allowed only their...
Again, guys, thank you for watching. This is part 1. Promise we'll have another part where we'll dive a little bit deeper into this story. Thanks for watching. Don't forget that this platform, guys, Right Along Live, is where everyone have a story to tell. And I guess you kind of understand what we mean, right? Everyone has a story to tell, and we intend to tell as much stories as possible. We'll be right back.
As we celebrate 50 years of independence,
I love my Grenada.
Made in Grenada presents the celebration of 50 years of Calypso.
Open me a to fat tonight, honey.
One stage.
No, not so fast.
One show.
Music holding me, controlling.
Grenada's best Calypsonians performing Grenada's greatest hits.
Don't take it out. I like
Sunday, February 11th, 2024 at 6 p.m. sharp. Grenada National Stadium. More information coming soon.
When the DJ play Peter Humphrey, she raise her hand and she tell me, Specky, no place sweeter than home.
The government of Grenada, through the Ministry of Finance, is continuing the rollout of its tax amnesty initiative. The amnesty provides 100% waiver of all interest and penalties on all outstanding balances up to the end of December 2021. All taxpayers with outstanding tax balances and outstanding returns to file are encouraged to take advantage of this amnesty. All tax types administered by the division are eligible for tax amnesty. For further information on the tax amnesty, please contact the Inland Revenue Division at 435-6945 or 435-6946. Email tpshelpdesk@ird.gov.gd or visit our website ird.gd. Amnesty ends December 31st.
Now, get ready to conquer the road with Zion Driving Instructors, conveniently located at 1782 Flatbush Avenue in Brooklyn, New York. We are your ticket to driving success. We are known for and specialize in the best rates for driving classes, ensuring you reach your driving goals affordably and efficiently. Our expert instructors offer personalized one-on-one training, making you a confident and skilled driver. Plus, we offer convenient 5-hour classes and various packages deal to give you even more value. Ready to take the wheel? Call us today at 718-374-5678. That's 718-374-5678. Or visit ZionDrivingInstructors.com. That's ZionDrivingInstructors.com. Zion Driving Instructors, your journey to the open road starts here. Contact us and make your driving dreams a reality. Mention this ad and get a 5% off selected package.
I want you folks to play these 3 games from the NLA. Daily pick 3 cash flow and play with. You will be supporting sports and culture, nation building and our future. So go out and play, folks, make it a must. You will see what the National Lottery is doing for us. When you play pick 3 cash flow and play with, the NLA will support you all the way.
Starting September 30th, Monday to Friday, these 3 games will be drawn mid-morning, 9:45 a.m., midday, 12:45 p.m., and evenings, 7:45 p.m. The National Lotteries, supporting sports, culture, and nation building.
Sunday money day.
The Ministry of Tourism and Economic Development and the Grenada Tourism Authority extend a warm welcome to visitors and returning nationals visiting for Carnival and summer vacation. We do hope you enjoy your stay with us, and we invite you to return with friends and family to celebrate our 50th anniversary of independence on 7th February 2024. Tourism is my business, your business, our business.
All right. Guys, don't forget that the 50th, Grenada's 50th Independence launch, that's on the 31st, October 31st. Starting time 4 p.m. It's going to be on the Carnage. You want to see everybody there. Witness the official unveiling of the independence, the theme, the logo, and the song. Special remarks by the Honorable Prime Minister Dickon Mitchell. A whole lot of fun, guys. See you on the Carnage. Yeah, and also another great opportunity for me to jump a plane come down there. I'll be in Grenada for that. All right? Guys, independence. And we have just the right stuff. Just the right merch for you guys. If you want to get one of these limited edition wear, limited edition, guys, let me tell you, it's limited. Get it right now. In fact, let me give you the link, guys. Click that link right now, right at the bottom there. Click that link and purchase your Independence merch right now. Inbox right along and get yours. We have short sleeve, long sleeve for women, for men, everybody. This is a, limited edition. You hear me? Limited edition. Get it now. Also, We want to say thank you guys so much for making this a reality, guys. We are approaching our 20,000 download on the Fire TV app. Yeah, man. Wow, we got up there fast, right? Because of you. And kind of because of me too, because everywhere I go and I see someone have a Fire TV, I'm downloading that Fire TV app on the Fire TV, guys. Everybody, everywhere I go. What, you have Fire TV? Put it on. So all the grocery stores, all this, the supermarket, everywhere I go, Fire TV. So download the app right now, guys. You could watch this and all the programs on Ride Along Live on Fire TV. It's amazing. Download it right now. Search Ride Along Live and download the app. It's free. It's free. It's free. Free. Yeah, it's free. Don't cost you nothing. Download that right now. Again, guys, this is the link for you to purchase the Grenada sweaters. You get the sweaters, the t-shirt. Get it right now. Get it right now, guys. Click that link and get it right now. Free shipping worldwide. All right? Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Guys, on behalf of all of our team here at Ride Along Live, we say thank you for making us number one, numero uno, reaching millions and millions and millions every single day, every single week, and we appreciate you. We thank you. We thank you. We thank you. We thank you. Couldn't do it without you. We are the number one, most watched, most syndicated, most talked about program straight across the region, guys. Thank you so much. All my Guyanese friends, Grenadian friends, Jamaicans. Vincy, how you doing? Folks from Carriacou, big up yourself. Yeah, Trini, my Trini friends. Can't forget the Trinis. Folks in Canada, England, Aruba, how you doing? A lot of people from Aruba checking us out. Thank you so much, Aruba. We love you. Where else am I missing? England, how you doing? Folks in London, big up yourself. Canada, the US, the folks even in Mexico. ¿Cómo estás por todos mis amigos que habla español en México? And en otro país que habla español. All right? Big up! Thank you so much, guys. Go back and watch this program again on Fire TV. Share it, watch it back on Facebook, watch it back on YouTube. And there was a link that we put there earlier. If you like Ride Along and you like our growth and you want to assist in our growth, you want to help us grow, you could do that by a number of different ways, right? One, you could give us some stars. So if you like this program, you could give us some stars. Or you can make a donation. You could click that link, make a financial donation of anything, right? Make a donation. You know, whenever we get donation, it goes back into the community. We are working on our Christmas drive. You make a donation, it goes back into the community, giving gifts and toys and all sorts of stuff back to kids for Christmas. All right? Thank you so much. That's the link right there. If you want to make a donation to Ride Along Live, you love the program, you want to see us grow, make a little donation. We appreciate you. Thank you so much. You will be forever blessed. Or give us some stars. Or if you have a business and you want to advertise, you could also do so. Advertise on Ride Along Live and reach more. Reach more when you advertise on Ride Along Live. Advertise with us and reach millions daily, weekly, monthly. Yeah, over 10 million per month. It pays to advertise with us. Reach more and let us send your business viral. Advertise with us and reach more. Yes, and the folks on YouTube, yeah, we have Super Chat on YouTube. Guys, if you're on Super Chat, you're on YouTube, you want to support us, you could give us a little Super Chat. The folks on YouTube know what I'm talking about, right? Give us a little Super Chat, guys. Let me see the folks on YouTube. Can't forget the folks on YouTube, guys. The YouTube folks are strong, large and in charge. YouTube, we thank you, we thank you, we love you, we love you, we love you. Let me go to our YouTube and see all the folks over there on YouTube. Yes, we have Summer. How you doing on YouTube? Godfrey Ferguson, Patrick, big up yourself on YouTube. Denise, Mason, Noel, big up yourself on YouTube. Thank you so much. YouTube, give us a little super chat now. Give us a little super chat now. Thank you so much for the super chat. YouTube folks know what super chat is, eh? All your Facebook folks, all you know what stars are. Okay, give us some stars or some super chat. Stars or some super chat. We love you still. Love you, love you, love you, love you, love you, love you, love you. Let me see the folks on YouTube. Still locked in, still there. Nice. Nice. If you guys wondering about our YouTube link, let me put the YouTube link in the general thing so you guys could also follow us on YouTube. This is our YouTube. I just pasted it in there. So you guys go follow us on YouTube. So there's so much ways. If you don't want to watch it on Facebook, you can watch it on YouTube. You can watch it on Twitter. You can watch it on Fire Stick. Just, you're all over. All right? On behalf of all of our production team here at Ride Along Live, our senior executive producer, Lois JJ. Woo! Boss lady, I call she. We say thank you so much. Kibbs, Gail Charles, everyone. Thanks again, guys. Catch you guys tomorrow. Bye-bye.